Hello, welcome to the channel, and if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. Although you will see I have rebranded as Guangzhou. The content remains the same, it's just that snide in my part of the world in the UK means fake, and that is predominantly what this channel used to be focused on exclusively. Now it's kind of broadened out a little bit, so I'm making use of Guangzhou. I live in Guangzhou, my name is Joe. Beautiful pun. Chef's kiss of a pun. Very happy with the new username. But having said that, today we are looking at a real versus fake. I have 3 watches here. Can you tell the difference between them? Which one is which? You tell me. I like to do this at the start of my videos, give you a little chance to guess before I tell you which is which. Any ideas so far? Anything jumping out at you? Have a look at the color, the bezel, the shape, the shininess. Anything? Anything? Well, we'll go into split screen. I'll do a side-by-side comparison of the 3. You'll notice I'm wearing these product gloves because people said it was greasy last time. I do apologize. All right, now looking at the color here, I would argue that, you know, the Gen has this deep, rich, dark blue. It's instantly recognizable. I would say between the two, VS Factory gets this closest. The VSF on the right there. A little bit dusty. I tried my best, but even with the gloves, there's a bit of dust. I'll say that's the closest. VS takes the lead here, especially with the sunburst effect, which is a bit more subtle and matches the Gen. Looking at the bezel, both VS and Clean Factory have done a really good job with the teeth shape. The sharp, well defined, and if you compare the two side by side, there's not much difference. I would say VS gets a slight edge over the Clean with a more accurate angle on the inner triangle. Clean Factory's triangle is good, but just a bit too smooth compared to the crispness of the Gen. It's angled at a little bit too sharp. Both of them are in comparison to the Gen, but the way they catch the light, you can see as I twirl them around there, kind of similar. Now I'm trying to show you the stick markers here. VS, I would say, takes the lead. The stick markers are well filled, closely match the Gen on the left. In terms of the shape and the size, the main issue with the Clean is that the inner edges aren't really filled in as nicely, leaving very slight gaps. Again, I don't have a macro lens, but you can kind of see there. I'm trying to catch the light on the edges of the stick markers. All 3 of them are pretty similar. Clean does a good job, but I think VS takes it again on this one. Okay, now looking at the crown, I'm trying to show it at a slight angle here and trying to avoid the glare of the light. I'm no pro at filming these things, and I should probably get a macro lens, but I'm just a hobbyist here. They're pretty damn close, to be honest. Feel free to pause this video, of course, and have a close inspection yourself, but I'm not really seeing many differences between the crowns. I'll try to get the light to play on it slightly differently, but tricky, very tricky. Can't really discern between the 3. All right, here I'm looking at the engraving. Both VS and Clean do a good job with flat, sharp font. When viewed closely, you can see that the Gen's font is a bit fuller and glossier, but honestly, to the naked eye, lads, like, nah. They're the same. They really are. I mean, how close do you need to look at something? I mean, it depends what you're looking for here and what you're looking at. If you are buying a watch on the second-hand market and you don't want to get scammed, you're gonna have to have a close-up look, sure. Looking at the hands here, I'm trying to see how they have got, see how down the middle of the hands there is that line, because they do have a bit of a shape to them. Both Clean and the VS have sort of skeletonized the solid structure just like the Gen, but the Clean central sleeve is flatter, not really well executed, to be honest. VS gets it much closer. Looking at the crystal, the Cyclops from the side, and then looking at it straight on, VS and Clean both got same sort of translucency. They're both well polished, no real major difference. See how Clean and the Gen kind of fill up the Cyclops. The number fills the screen, as it were. Clean looks like it's a little bit smaller, but it's ever so slight, really, a very slight discrepancy between the 2. Okay, looking at the never been sure how to say this one, Rehaut engraving around the inner edge where it says Rolex, basically, where it's got Rolex on repeat. pretty similar. VS and clean, pretty solid. VS again, I would say takes the biscuit, just edging ahead slightly. Looks a bit lighter in person, but up here, up close, I would say they're pretty close to the Gen. The case from the side, both factories pretty accurate, quite close, not 100%. There's no huge difference that jumps out in terms of the shape and the weight of the watch, I should note, as I'm holding it here, and the crown itself, pretty similar. Really struggled to get that in focus, I do apologize. Okay, on the strap, all high quality. VS's strap feels a bit closer to the Gen in kind of the texture. The crown's pretty much the same on all three. VS takes it just slightly with the texture of the two different textures of the metal there. But you'd have to have them side by side. All right, looking at the lume on here, I would say VS is slightly brighter. Again, kind of hard to show on video. I mean, it's coming up. It's coming up as a winner, isn't it? VS. I mean, I was really comparing these to the Gen, but I can't help but think about which one is more accurate, and it is the VS. And that's pretty much where we're going to leave it. If I had a macro lens, I would be showing you the laser engraved crown at the bottom at the 6 marker, but alas, I don't have that. On wrist there, man, you tell me what jumps out at you. Well, there you have it. That pretty much wraps up the aesthetic differences between the watches. I'm sure there's even more you could cover, but to be honest, I think I did enough, and I'll be even more honest, I got bored at the end. I did enough on them. I don't need to justify why I've got these watches. I will tell you that I'm not promoting buying a real one, never mind a fake one. I really don't promote you to buy anything. Don't. In fact, it's a huge waste of money. A watch is a watch. You don't need to spend that much money on it. If you have the money, great. I hope this was useful for you. If you don't have the money, you just go ahead and do whatever the hell you want, right? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And I'm at risk of this turning into an opinion piece. I'll save that for a separate video. Really, look, let's just say this from someone who has the real one and the fake one and a fake one. It doesn't matter, lads.